Are you ready to dive into the world of sports technology like never before? Well, welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Neil, and today I'm going to attempt to peel back the layers of the sports tech onion. And my guest today is the Senior Vice President of Automated Content at a company called Sportradar. His name is Luka, and he's been a part of Sportradar's journey for over 9 years now and is at the forefront of integrating artificial intelligence, computer vision and machine learning in the world of sports. But what does this mean for fans? What does it mean for broadcasters and even the fast evolving world of sports betting and micro betting? And also, how is AI not just changing but revolutionising the way we experience and engage with our favourite sports? Well, my guest today, Luka, is here to shed light on all of these questions and dig a little bit deeper on some of the groundbreaking advancements. So if you're interested in how computer vision is transforming the sports industry, well, let's kick things off today. Buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Vienna in Austria, where Luka is waiting to talk about all this and much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hey, Neil. Thanks for having me, first of all. So my name is Luka Pataky. I am Senior Vice President for Automated Content in Sportradar. So very exciting stuff that we do. Actually, quite a big AI-focused team that focuses on collection of data using AI from sports videos. So super exciting topic, super exciting area. Lots of growth in general in this space in the last years, and we'll talk a bit more about it as we go through this podcast.
And something I try and do every single day on this podcast is getting people thinking differently about technology, and also get them thinking about how technology is impacting a world that they probably don't automatically associate with technology. And sports broadcasting, I would imagine, is one of those that you don't automatically associate with AI. So can you describe the journey of sports broadcasting's evolution with the advent of computer vision and AI, and how technology is changing the narrative and ultimately the storytelling of sport too?
Yeah. So the interesting thing about computer vision is that actually the way it works, it mimics a bit the human vision system, right, in essence. So it means everything it sees in a video frame, it can understand, interpret, and create something out of it, right? And why it's so interesting for broadcasting and in general for viewing experiences, because basically it analyzes everything you see on the screen and it understands where things are. And so it means that it can overlay data inside on top, like a lot more contextually. So it sees the players that are on the screen, and so it can present something related to that. It means you don't need to necessarily be fast to do it manually. You'll have a system detect automatically which player is on the screen or what's currently happening. And so you'll get insights and overlays that are a lot more relevant, right? So that's one aspect. The other big aspect is that it allows also for advertising opportunities to become a lot more dynamic and contextual. So you can use, again, computer vision to overlay ads in specific areas that are relevant for some territory, or just you use spaces on the floor of the arena, or of the soccer pitch, and you can kind of overlay it with some graphic statistics. So it does give, I would say, a new life to the whole viewing experience for many stakeholders involved, right? From advertisers to fans, and all parties involved. So it really kind of gives a new life to the broadcast. And some sports have been a lot more advanced here. Something like American football, you'd see for a long time these overlays on the pitch that show which how the game is progressing. Some sports are a lot advanced, some not so much, but actually everything is moving in that direction.
And just to bring to life some of what we're talking about here for sports fans listening all over the world, whether it be soccer here in the UK or NFL and the Super Bowl coming up over in the US, in what ways has Sportradar's computer vision and AI technology enhance real-time data collection? And ultimately, what impact does that have on a fan engagement and the viewing experience?
it's interesting, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just technology, and data is just data. If you can't make sense out of it at the end, then it's not really worth a lot, right? But actually, AI and computer vision allow to generate a lot more data, which generates a lot deeper insight, understanding of the game. I often like to say that, what was once enough from viewing experience and fan engagement is not enough anymore. Like, fans are not satisfied with simple stats and simple explanations. You need to know more. And also, if you want to differentiate as a broadcaster, you need to kind of have that edge. And what AI and computer vision, so particularly, obviously, I'm focused more computer vision, allows is that we can generate a lot more data. We are talking about anything like 100 times more data that can be collected that actually you can't collect any other way. Like, you can't collect tracking data, you can't collect certain information in any other way than using this tech. And that allows to build a lot deeper insight to understand why the game is going on like this, or even, explain some things, whether it's in between like pauses or just in real time. You immediately have access to, I don't know, how long someone has ran or how fast the sprint was compared to maybe their season average or whatever. So it gives a lot more things to talk about. And that kind of enhances this. It means for, again, all the fans that watch it, there's a lot more information and there's a lot more stickiness. You need to, attention spans are also shrinking, right? So you need to have these stories that are interesting, that kind of grab the attention and keep the fan engaged. And that, whether it's, just a fan watching the game, or where it's a punter that wants to, understand what's happening next so that they can bet on it. So everyone is interested in this and definitely wants more and more information. That's how we use it. So we use it generally to enhance the insight that we are delivering to fans at the end, and to improve overall that experience.
And another huge topic right now is the personalization of just about everything, whether it be music, film, shopping. And
yeah,
I'm curious, how is AI enabling personalized experiences for sports fans? What does that mean for the future of sports consumption, do you think?
Yeah, so I think there's AI in general has a massive impact on personalization, right? Because it allows to basically treat at every consumer individually, understand what they are doing and how they're engaging with sports, like even just how they consume sports, like what sports they watch, what sports they, what sort of, especially they like to share on social media and so on. So you can build a better understanding and then offer more personalized experience, even if it's as simple as we offer you these sports to bet on because we know that you like those sports, right? But so in AI, there's personalization is absolutely massive, but even computer vision offers a lot of interesting things. Computer vision is very big in terms of generating highlights, so short form video content. And again, here it can help identify what is actually relevant to you as a consumer, and then offer a personalized clipping for you or personalized highlight for you. At the same time, I mentioned earlier personalization in terms of advertising a bit. So that's extremely interesting for advertisers because, who wants this mass advertising that just goes the same to everyone, right? If I can have something more personalized, whether that's to the territory or age group or something. I mean, in theory, computer vision can help you basically produce 50 different streams, and almost every consumer could get a different one. And that doesn't just mean from the perspective for ads. It could also be what stats appear, who are we following as a player. And you can be even more futuristic, and you can think these 3D data can help rebuild things in virtual space. So as a fan, maybe I'm just interested to look at something from my perspective and not from someone else's perspective, right? So I get a whole complete personalized experience. So there's AI is massive in terms of personalization, and generally AI, but also computer vision from this visual perspective, anything that is visual can be personalized because that technology helps us to do that. But just in general, AI, it's the power of being able to process a lot of data very fast. And so you can then return back to the consumer something that's very, very made for them, right?
It's incredibly cool what you're doing here. And this is just scratching the surface. Can you also elaborate on the capabilities of computer vision in mimicking human vision, particularly in terms of accuracy and speed when analysing sports events?
Yes. So, I mean, for us at Sportradar, obviously the speed and accuracy are the two key things. In betting space, it has to be real time and it has to be super accurate. Those are two important things. And we also understand that patterns, the trends are moving in the direction of even more live, almost like micro live experiences, right? And if you want to then have that competitive edge where you are building more insight, you are building experiences which are faster, so like micro events, then you need to use these technologies. And actually, computer vision works similarly to like human vision system and brain system. The thing is that, we still need to focus on certain areas, and our brain is extremely powerful, of course. And here we are still often more advanced than machines because sometimes that cognitive aspect of understanding what will happen and logically putting things together is still like very much exclusive to human mind. But computer vision can process a lot of things at the same time. And actually, if you look at the image, like there's a lot of pixels in that image, you can process every pixel at the same time. And so you're able to, in that same or faster speed, generate a lot more insight. And you never get tired, right? So you potentially don't make a mistake sometimes or miss something because you can look at everything at the same time. So it allows us to be really fast. We have a couple of systems in production where we do, data collection based on computer vision. Those systems run at 20 to 40 milliseconds, and that's how fast they deliver data. And actually, even the streaming, so the whole new viewing experience, streaming that includes these real-time overlays based on computer vision, comes out at 200 milliseconds. So it allows to create a lot more data a lot faster, so that within 1 second, we can have like different sort of opportunities for betting on smaller micro markets. And actually, it allows us to kind of go from the point where we offer something to the customer, say like, you can now, I don't know, how many bounces off the table will there be, to the point where we can conclude this and say there was like 10 bounces off the table, everything like within 20 seconds. And it means the system needs to process the play has finished, and you have your resolution. So absolutely speed, accuracy, and it's very consistent, right? So these systems are trained on a lot of data and they make decisions very consistently, right? So of course they sometimes make a mistake, but I like to say they make kind of objective mistakes, right? They are not really predictable, and they are normally very rare, and that's why you train on more data. And so it's very consistent output, and very fast always at the same time.
And you mentioned betting there, and I must admit, on a Saturday afternoon, I am guilty of having a traditional accumulator bet. And I know outside of that, the micro betting markets are just huge now, and the things that putting people's bets on. And I often think about the technology that makes all that possible, because it needs to be so quick and also have such low latency. So how is technology transforming that sports betting landscape, especially with regards to those micro betting markets and, of course, that demand for ultra low latency data? Because it's one of those things that maybe a lot of people take for granted, but there's a lot going on under the hood, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the trend that goes towards that, like shorter attention span, and everything needs to be faster. And maybe a punter doesn't want to sit down for the whole game and wait until the end to get the result. You want to kind of get engaged for a few minutes and step out and then get in again. And you don't need the whole game experience. There's different fans, right? And so this definitely allows that. Those markets, you can't do them any other way than using AI across the whole sort of life cycle of such bet, from the data collection that has to be extremely fast to the, calculating the probabilities and odds, offering that, and then resolving or resulting the bet at the end. We've recently did this for table tennis, and there, like, believe it or not, you have a bet on number of bounces in every rally. Like, is it going to be over under a certain number? And table tennis is already extremely fast sport, and then every rally lasts anything between 10 to 30 seconds. So everything from data collection to probabilities to resolving this bet, and then to giving it to the customer, that has to happen within then that 20 to 30 seconds time frame. So it has to be really fast, and that's only really possible with these kind of technologies. And because it's also at the end not just about kind of the micro bet, but it has to have, the whole experience has to be kind of connected. The way how we look at it is that the whole micro betting experience is probably a bit different to classic live betting experience, because streaming also becomes really important. Like, it's very important for the punter, for example, to kind of, okay, you can bet on number of bounces of the table, but it's also nice to see those bounces actually, to have this immediate validation. So that's why, again, streaming here with overlays of those bounces is really important, but you need to do everything really fast, right, to give that experience back.
You've blown my mind. I had no idea table tennis betting was such a huge industry. And you obviously, we make it sound so easy in a podcast conversation today, but what are the biggest challenges that you've faced at Sportradar when deploying things like AI and computer vision across a variety of sports? Any challenges you can share and how you're able to overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge generally in computer vision is the data to train the models on, right? And actually, this space has advanced a lot. So 5-6 years ago, it would be very difficult to generate big enough data set to then train your models on. Now you have a lot of sort of, transfer learning and pre-trained models, basically like a lot of models available that are already kind of pre-trained on big data sets. So not every company needs to build those data sets, but the secret sauce at the end is in the data set, right? And that's what you trained your model on. And that's usually, that takes iterations and that takes improvements. And the challenges usually come from not having enough data, or, like what in this sense you'd say, like either you have too much representative data or too little representative data. And that's for space like sports betting, where accuracy is really important. Every sort of outlier at the end can matter, and it means like, money for someone, right? So yes, it has, the data is one of the biggest challenges. In the past also processing was, because there was just maybe not enough processing power, but this is not really anymore an issue, and it's getting better and better, or more processing power is available. So yeah, still I would say the biggest challenge is the data. And sometimes the time, like we cover so many sports, it's difficult to do them all at the same time, and every sport is a bit challenging. Like people would say table tennis, for example, it is more contained sport, like, 2 players on each side of the table. So you can imagine it's a little bit easier from that perspective, but it's super fast. The ball is probably the smallest and the fastest of all of the sports. So you need to have pretty powerful camera there. And in soccer, you don't have this issue, but you have a lot of players that cover each other. And so how do you make sure that you detect them all and, when they occlude each other and so on? So every sport has its own challenges. And then, data is an overarching challenge for all of them, I would say.
Wow. If I was to ask you to look ahead into the future, I'm curious, how do you see AI and computer vision further revolutionizing the sports industry? And are there any new possibilities that you could see emerging in the months and years ahead?
I mean, I think definitely AI will stay and grow to be a really important piece, like across all areas of sports. I think where, that means like sports performance. So for athletes and coaches and, everything from grassroots up, there's more availability of this, and data is becoming really important for all the players, and they are seeing how they can also, build some edge for themselves, like be better athletes, improve performance. So definitely there in officiating, like there's a lot of computer vision already, like video assistant referees. There's a lot of computer vision in that, like pretty powerful system, has changed the sport already. And I think it's going to continue to change the sport. In data collection for sure, because I don't see the world where there is less data needed. I think everyone is hungry for more. So there will be AI everywhere. I do agree with many that say that AI is almost as big of an invention as electricity. Maybe we don't yet know, but I think it will impact our lives a lot and in a lot of positive ways. And I think it's definitely here to stay and to grow. One area that I see still growing more is this immersive experience, like virtual spaces. I think we are still relatively at the beginning. We at Sportradar already do quite a bit in that area. So using then really 3D data to recreate, a sport event, and again in real time live. this will also still grow, like immersive experiences, metaverse, and so on. So there's no, that's super exciting for me. I like this a lot. I like the technology space of sport and how it can actually help the sport on all sides.
And a question I've got to ask, of course, is as we continue to see AI everywhere and increasing use of AI in sports in particular, are there any ethical considerations that you take into account, particularly concerning data privacy and the integrity of sports?
Yeah, so I mean, like with any technology, right, it's important you use it for good and you use it in the right way. Yeah. And especially when it's these sort of emerging technologies that become very accessible, it's very easy to jump on something without really understanding it well. And then, things maybe go a bit south, right? So for us, I think these are really important aspects. I would say on the integrity piece first, when you look at tracking data and computer vision and what it can help, it actually can also even further improve the whole integrity aspect because it gives you that understanding of the game. So you can see the patterns of play and that helps you understand if there's something that's going out of the usual pattern. So we definitely see this can actually further help our integrity efforts, which is already a really important piece. When it comes to data itself, I would say there is, of course, certain lines that you shouldn't cross. And, that's when it comes to kind of data privacy aspects. Such data types probably include like biometric data, right? Like I think, that's where I believe, you need to be very considerate. We focus just on sport event data, right? So we are thinking about what's the data about the sport event itself that can help improve the experience, whether that's like sports performance for players, where we do a lot in basketball, whether it's fan engagement, and we do work very closely with federations to make sure that all the data privacy aspects are considered and that we are, doing what actually ultimately helps everyone, like whether that's athletes or fans or coaches or whoever. Yeah, but as I said, like every technology, you need to think about it and do it smartly and not jump on it just because it's sexy and interesting, but actually because you are doing something with it that actually at the end makes an experience better for everyone involved.
Well, absolutely love chatting with you today. You've blown my mind in so many different areas. And I've learned so much listening to you, and I hope everyone listening has too. And I'm going to see if there's anything we can do for you now, because some of the biggest names in business and tech have either been guests or listened to this podcast. So is there a person you'd love to have a private breakfast or lunch with? Who would that person be and why? He or she might just be listening to this. It'd be lovely to see if we can make something happen for you. Who would it be?
I think I'll go straight to the top, Neil. So I don't know, but let's see. Maybe. So I actually, in my years at Sportradar, like last sort of 7 years, I grew quite a lot together with my team. And I always try to think like, how can I be, a good mentor to them, a good coach, a good leader. One thing that I would like to kind of hear more is, how do you take your company like really well or your team really well through like a change? And I always kind of admired Apple actually, and I would love to have lunch with their CEO, Tim Cook, because I think there were a lot of people who weren't sure how things would go after Steve Jobs, but actually I feel the company did really well, and that transition was actually pretty successful. And I'd love to hear that personal story, or personal and professional story, and see what I can learn from it. So I went straight to the top, Neil. I don't know. I hope he's listening.
I do too. Let's see what we can manifest together here. I'll put that out into the universe. It's out there forever now. So hopefully someone somewhere is listening and can pop you in their mind of Tim Cook, see what we can make happen. And for everyone listening, just wanting to find out more information about the work you're doing there, contact you or your team. Where would you like everyone to check out?
Usually I'm quite active on LinkedIn, so best to contact me there. And happy to chat about this. It's super exciting area. We see a lot of movement across the industry, and it's always nice to share experience.
Well, as I said, I've learned so much from you today, from the evolution of sports broadcasting in the age of computer vision and AI everywhere, revolutionizing betting. I think A lot of people don't realise that AI could be the answer to a $7 billion micro betting potential. Absolutely breathtaking figures. So I urge anyone listening to check out your site and connect with you personally. But more than anything, just thank you for joining me today. And just let me know if Tim Cook gets in touch. But thanks for joining me.
Definitely. Thanks, Neil, for having me.
A huge thank you to Luka from Sportradar there. I mean, we've journeyed through that intricate world of AI, computer vision, and their transformative impact on sports broadcasting, fan engagement, and even the sector of sports betting. And from understanding the little nuances of micro betting markets to the ethical considerations of using such advanced technologies in sports, I think we covered a lot of ground. And as we close, I'm left pondering one final question. With the rapid advancements in AI and technology, how do you envision the future of sports entertainment evolving? And what are the potential implications for the average sports fan? This is where I want to put the microphone in your direction and try and keep this conversation going and learn more about your vantage points, what you like, what you don't like, what excites you, what you're afraid of, and everything in between. You've heard from me, you've heard from Luka. This is your chance. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. If you are a long-time listener or lurker and never emailed or never messaged or never connected, this is your true calling to change that. I'm the easiest guy in the world to find. I will reply to you as long as it's not an instant sales pitch and you just want to connect with me, then please do just that. But that's it for today, so I'll return again bright and early tomorrow. But thank you for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.